All right. Dr. McClendon, gentlemen of the board, I want to introduce you to Miss Tegan English. Tegan is a fifth grader here at Alba-Golden Elementary. Fantastic kids. Last month, we bragged on a young lady who showed up with her grandma to pick up brother from school, and she was always looking out the window. Couldn't wait to start school. This young lady was the same way. Her grandmother used to come, pick her little brother up from school, and she was waiting in the car too. She couldn't wait for the school start so she could be old enough to start school. She's an Alba-Golden lifer. She's going to graduate from Alba-Golden, and she's going to go on to do great things. But I want to tell you a little bit about her. Her grandmother is Miss Frances English, and y'all know Miss Fran. She's the one that kept you from running out of Dr. Sheffron's dentist office when y'all were little and he was pulling your teeth. And she's still at it, and she's doing a fantastic job with this young lady. Tegan, she likes playing basketball and volleyball. Her favorite foods include spaghetti and hamburgers and, of course, catfish. She lives out there by Lake Fork. She's got to have that catfish. And she loves basketball so much. One of her goals is to go to college and play basketball, and one day maybe get to play pro basketball. She goes to church at Church of Christ in Winsboro, Texas. And her hobbies include drawing and painting because she's got that skill. But this is what I like, and we've never had this before: clearing land and burning brush. Now, this girl knows how to work hard because she's got a hard-working grandma that's showing her the way. And she takes that hard work that she does at home on the farm, and she applies that in the classroom. Her teachers have lots of great things to say about her. Miss Weimer says that Tegan is a very responsible and respectful young lady. She gives her best effort at every activity she's involved in at school. She's a great friend to others. She's always willing to help. Mr. Swope said something similar. She's a special student, bright, and is intentional with her schoolwork, as well as her interaction with classmates and adults. We're blessed to have her at Alba-Golden. Miss Soap, her science teacher, says Tegan is a great kid, and she put great in all capital letters with 2 exclamation points. That's a big deal. She is always ready to learn when she comes to class. Great attitude and great work ethic. I know I can count on her to give me her best every single day. Miss Wright, your art teacher, says you're a very respectful young lady. You've got a strong work ethic, and you are a super talented artist that is a joy to have in her class. And Miss McInich is here tonight. She wanted to say that Tegan is a bright and polite young lady, conscientious student, ready to learn new things, positive attitude, and calm energy. She brings it to the classroom every day, capable of doing great things, and she's blessed to be part of your educational journey. I love this kid. She could be Student of the Month every month. She's just one of those kids that's polite and does what's right. And we don't have enough of them. But thank you so much for taking setting a good example. This is Mr. Stovall, and he's got something to give you. Go ahead. Tegan, again, I just want to express how excited we are that you're now going to join. I bet we'll see you up here again in a few years. Thank you so much for all you do.
Dr. McClendon, members of the board, our secondary student of the month. This month we're honoring our sophomores, and the sophomore student of the month that was an overwhelming favorite is Mr. Samuel Louderman. Samuel's hobbies and interests include baseball and hunting. He is a member of Sand Springs Baptist Church Youth Group, Alba-Golden FFA, National Junior Honor Society, and the National Honor Society. He always receives all A's, and he went to state with FFA Farm Business Team. His work experience is raising and harvesting cantaloupes, harvesting and packaging watermelons and sweet potatoes. His favorite subject here at Alba-Golden is algebra, and this is a blessing. It's a gift from the Lord. He says it just comes easy to him. And what he likes about Alba-Golden ISD is that it's a small school, and you have more one-on-one help. He plans to attend college and pursue a career in engineering. And we want to say a big thank you to his parents, Mark and Jennifer, and the job that you've done raising your boys. Coach Stack said Sam is honest. He's not afraid of asking for help. He works hard, and teachers notice his work ethic. Miss Curry said that he's hardworking, always strives to excel. He's kind, he's generous, He helps others in the class when they ask. He's competitive. He's kind. He's gracious when others excel as well. He's always polite and a real pleasure to have in class. And then Mr. Lovern said this about you. He said that you're not selfish, but you're selfless. And anytime there's somebody that's needed on a team, Samuel Louderman always steps up to be that person that's going to help out the team. And that says a lot about you, because team, the acronym is together, everyone achieves more. And you always put people first before you. And that's exactly why you're receiving Secondary Student of the Month. We're real proud of this young man, Dr. McClendon, and members of the board. And I'd like to welcome you, audience and guys here tonight, our Secondary Student of the Month, Mr. Samuel Louderman.
We are proud of you, Samuel, and we really appreciate all you do for Alba-Golden very much. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you, Mr. Mize. At this time, we would like to turn it over to Dr. McClendon for a graduation presentation.
Actually, Mr. Mize, would you do the honors, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Can you give me 1 minute? He's changing, and he'll be right.
Okay. We can. Let's get down to that one.
The graduation ready. We'll go down to number 3, retiring school board member appreciation.
Tonight it's my honor. We certainly want to recognize 2 retiring board members in our presence. We did just have a board election, and usually in a normal year, we would install new board members at the same time we retire board members. But not unlike the country we're in, we do not have official results from Rains County. So without that official provisional count, we cannot canvass votes tonight. We have to wait until, I think they're the Pennsylvania of East Texas. But we have to wait till we get those provisional ballots before we can canvass anything. We don't expect that to change the election results. And so tonight we want to pause and we want to honor 2 gentlemen that have given hours of their time and commitment to serve on this board. The role of a board member is very rewarding, but sometimes the public does not see behind the scenes of the hours and worry and concern and commitment people put in. So although it is rewarding, it is very time-consuming, and it takes a special person to be a great board member. What I like about working with board members is it's a very unique set of people. And each board member usually brings unique talents to the table. And I will say that is very true of these 2 gentlemen, is that they have a knowledge set that each one possesses, and they contribute to the board as a whole. So tonight I want to thank, first I'll go in alphabetical order, not to show favoritism. Jackie Staley, we want to thank you for your years of service. You'll be missed, and we hope to see you around the district in other ways, but we want to thank you for your time and commitment. Thank you, Jackie. The next gentleman, he still has daughters in the district, so we're going to see him at athletic functions, and he will still be visible at things. I know he can't get away from us. But Johnny Teal, we want to thank you for your service and everything you've brought to the board as well. Thank you, sir. I'd also like to go ahead on the record, and we will swear them in December board meeting. But we do have new board members, Brad Lennon and Randall Cole, that we expect to swear in December, and canvass results soon that we get those. So we want to congratulate those gentlemen for getting on the board. Thank you. And Grant Sadler for Grant Sadler got enough votes to fill an unexpired term by himself. He did win the election, though, so you just needed one. Congratulations.
Dr. McClendon. Thank you, guys. At this time, Mr. Mize, let me turn it over to you.
Mr. Stovall, Dr. McClendon, members of the board, everyone that's here tonight, Eric's family, thank y'all so much. We appreciate you guys. And this is why you get into education, is nights like these. This young man has fought hard, he's fought long, and he, every one of us in here, we all have flaws and we've all made mistakes. And Eric has been a long-time Panther. He left to go to Mineola. Things didn't work out too good for him there, but you know what? I appreciate Mr. Dwayne Ellis allowing him to come back to school. And when he came back to school, he had to be placed at the Discipline Alternative Educational Placement, the DAEP. And as he was there, he worked hard, he finished his time, and when he finished his time, he came back to campus. But you know what? Campus life is not always fitting for all kids. And I'm thankful that this school district looks at that we've got opportunities for all kids at Alba-Golden. And with that being said, Eric asked, he said, can I go back to the DAEP? Well, we can't legally let them go back to a discipline placement. We've got to let them go to another placement, which is called the Learning Center. And at the Learning Center, this is where Eric was able to finish up his credits on Odyssey program that allows our students to be able to excel, to be able to propel to graduate early. And with that being said, when he came back up there, and I just want to say this, man, I've never seen a kid work as hard as you did. And a word that I want to use to you tonight is perseverance. Because I think everybody in this room knows that your mom and dad had some health problems. But you battled every day. And you looked at Miss Ellis and you looked at me and you said, I'm doing it for them right there. And I'm going to tell you what, man, that touches the heart. And when I'd come up there and, man, you were working hard. And then there was days I'd come up there and you'd be pulled up to Miss Ellis's desk and you'd nearly be in tears over that math. Where were you when we needed you, right? Man, that math will wreck your brain. And, boy, we were struggling. And then you get to English 4 and all those types of things. But I'm going to tell you what, you battled, but I think you would say it tonight as well. There was one lady that was instrumental in getting you across that finish line, and that was Miss Tammy Ellis. And so tonight, I'd ask Miss Ellis, if you will, I want you to come up and to present him his diploma. Dr. McClendon, members of the board, I'd like to say that Eric has exceeded his 90% passing rate, his 90% attendance rate from Texas Education Agency, and I'd also like to say that he has achieved all the credits that qualify him as a graduate under the Texas Education Code. So it is my privilege to present to you tonight our 2020-2021 early graduate, Mr. Eric Blaine Patrick. Thank you. Mr. and Miss Patrick and your family, you are more than welcome to go to my office or out in the hallway to take pictures and just enjoy your time with each other and celebrate this young man's accomplishment. God bless you guys.
I would like to say one thing, Ms. Ellis. I do appreciate everything that y'all done. When you say family, it's an extended family. And I thank both of y'all for all my heart. And I thank the school. But if there was ever a teacher there, she deserved it. I promise you, because if it wasn't for her and all the help from everybody. I mean, but we do appreciate it. We thank y'all.
Mr. Mize, thank you for your encouragement.
Yes.
For him.
Thank you all very much for coming.
Congratulations.
As Dr. McClendon explained earlier, the next item is the action items, canvassing of votes and swearing in of newly elected school board trustees. We're not quite ready to do that yet, as he explained, so we'll table D until a further meeting. So at this time, we don't have any public forum, correct? No public forum. Information items. First item on the list is the audit report from Ms. Kelly.
Dr. McClendon, gentlemen of the board, Mike Taylor is here with Rutherford Taylor and Company to present our financial reports. And as he gets ready, I will hand you a copy.
You ready, Mr. Tobo?
Yes, sir.
I am here tonight to go over the Alba-Golden Independent School District's annual financial report for the year ended August 31st, 2020. Mr. Stovall, the report is 73 pages in length. Be happy to go over every page, or I'll hit the highlights, but I'm at the pleasure of the board. All right. Page 3 is a very important schedule. If the board approves the audit report tonight, it needs to be so signed by the board secretary and the board president, and it'll be forwarded to us because we have to PDF a copy of the audit report down to the agency. They'll no longer accept a paper copy. Turning on to page 5 is the independent auditor's report. In the first paragraph, we have audited the accompanying financial statements of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the Alba-Golden Independent School District as of and for the year ended August 31st, 2020, and the related notes to the financial statements, which make up the district's basic financial statements. If you'll come down to where it says opinions, this is our opinion. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly, in all material respects, the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of the Alba-Golden Independent School District as of August 31st, 2020, and the respective changes in financial position and, where applicable, cash flows thereof for the year then ended, in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. An unmodified report, the best report an auditor can give on a set of financial statements. Going off the script here, but you do have a good set of financial statements. You have a very good set of financial statements. I know I reviewed the trial balances that the team worked on, and you've got a very sound set of financial statements and financial position in this district. Page 7 is independent auditor's report on internal control and other matters based on an audit of financial statements performed in accordance with governmental auditing standards. If you'll come down to the 4th paragraph, the last sentence, during our audit, we did not identify any deficiencies in internal control that we consider to be material weaknesses. The last sentence, the results of our test disclose no instance of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported under governmental auditing standards. I don't know if I've ever told y'all or not, but I hate to say how long I've been auditing school districts in the state of Texas. But I can remember when TEA had something like 45 auditors on staff. Now I think they have 4 the last time we checked with them. What they've done is they've pushed all the compliance aspects down to the local board to have it done and then reported in this audit report. I can remember one year, and this was years ago, we pulled up on the school, state auditors were there, and the state of Texas flag was flying upside down. School lost all state aid that day. no state aid that day. So it's changed a lot over the years. This year you have you had a single audit because the district received greater than $750,000 in federal funds. If you go over 750, then it triggers another audit, and that's called a single audit over the largest program that was in operation, and that was the ESSA program this past year for this district. Flipping on over to page 16, and this is the management discussion and analysis of the financial statements. I'm going to go over the bullets here at the top. The district's total combined net position was $7.9 million at August 31st, 2020. Net worth, another way to say it. During the year, the expenses were $116,000 greater than the $12.3 million generated in taxes and other revenues for the governmental activities. Of course, the third bullet, we're seeing this everywhere in every organization. District experienced disruption in traditional education services due to the state and national responses to COVID-19. And of course, the last one is the general fund reported a fund balance this year of $6.8 million. Flipping on over to page 18 at the bottom. District's total revenues were 12.3, well, I just explained. 27% of the district revenues come from property taxes. 70% comes from state aids and federal grants to this district. I know each year when I pay my property taxes, I think I'm paying for it all, but it's just 27%. Total cost of all programs and services were $12.5 million. 61% of these costs are for instructional related services. That means that out of every dollar spent by this district, 61 cents was spent on instructing students. A very good percentage, a very high percentage, and you should be commended for that. And last but not least, the district's total tax collection percentage, base tax only, was 100.2%. And the total collections, when we add in penalties and interest, was 102.33% of your levy. A very good collection ratio. Very good. I'm going to ask you now to turn over to page number 29. This is the schedule that Ms. Kelly will have to publish in the local paper in order to be in compliance with the Texas Property Tax Code to show all the taxpayers in the district where the money was raised and how it was spent. You know, as you can see, I'll go over the general fund here, the first column. The 5,700 revenues is property taxes and so forth. 5,800 is state program revenues and 5,900 is federal revenues. 10.6 million came in the general fund. Instruction is broken down by functions, and if you look at function 11, 12, and 13, that is classroom instruction, and as you can see, that's roughly about $5.9 million was spent in classroom instruction here, out of 10.7. You know, I always like to point out to a board and to the citizens at function 51, it's called plant maintenance and operations, $1,094,000. It's what it cost in 1 year to heat, cool, and maintain all of these facilities that you have in the district. Large operation. And as you can see, expenditures were 10.7 in general fund. Overall for the year, 79,387 deficit. Very good in the trying times we've been in and continue. I'll be glad to go over the notes to the financial statements. They're a mere probably right at 25 pages. That's to help the reader burrow down in more to what I've just talked about. I will. You just call us, please, sir. Mo, we certainly entertain any question the board has. Would ask you to turn to page 59 because I just finished talking about the general fund. And here's where we just drill down and furnish information. But this is the general fund again. And the first column is your original budget you passed last August. And then the final budget is the original budget with all the budget amendments made to it. Then the actual we just went over. And if we come down, you had budgeted to lose $1.5 million. You only lost 79. You're $1,437,000 better than what you would thought you would be by budget, and I think that's a very, very good. One other schedule I'd like to go over with the board is on page 67, the next to last schedule. This is the schedule of delinquent taxes receivable by the districts broken down into a 10-year spread, with the first column being 2011 and prior all combined. What I always like to do is to circle, when you see next to the 2018-19, 105,631, I like to circle that number. Then I come down to the next line, go all the way to the far right at August 31st, 2020, and circle $70,000. So now I'm comparing apples to apples. Where was I at August 31st, 2019 on the 2018 row, and the 2019 row was $70,000. As you can see, the collections were $35,000 greater, and that goes back and corresponds with those collection percentages I just told you about. There's still $315,000 delinquent to this district. They'll be collected with time as property sells, but they haven't been collected yet. And on page 72, this is a schedule of expenditures of federal awards. This is the money that the district received from federal grants, and it totaled up to $796,682. United States government wants so much credit for it that they even make us put a value on the commodities they turn over to the cafeteria program so they can get them on this schedule. First of all, that's very quick presentation over these 73 pages, but I'll be happy to entertain any questions.
Board, have any questions?
Mr. Stovall, I'd be remiss if I didn't, on behalf of our firm, thank Ms. Kelly, Mr. McClendon, Dr. McClendon, for all their help while our team was here. I think they only had 5 here this year only 5 for 2 days. Gathering stuff, asking questions, most professional, most courteous to them. We do ask if they want us to put the stuff up, and for some reason they always say no. But we do thank them very much.
Appreciate the presentation.
Good job,
Information item number 2, proposed budget update for the agricultural project.
Yeah, we have a handout for you that's in your packet. It looks like this. I made a copy on the table there. We have a proposed, it's an estimated budget. So these are not bids. These are not hard numbers that came back to us. These are just estimates of what the project center would cost. Good news is it is within budget, projected to be anyway at this point. There's a breakdown, and I've asked some representatives from Jackson Construction to come in, and if you have any questions about any of the line items or how they came to these numbers, they're here to answer those questions. our ag teachers are excited because this is based on their drawings that they have revised that we feel meets the needs of kids. So the ag teachers put this together. We met with construction and architects. We came up with some new drawings, and these numbers are based on what we're asking for, based on that. So Jackson Construction, do y'all want to say a few words tonight?
Yes.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm J.D. Hell with Jackson. I'm on the pre-construction side. I've also got Shane here, project manager, and then Brett here with Harris Craig. So I'm just going to hit the highlights as well, like my predecessor here. The front page here, just as a summary, as Dr. McClendon said, this is just based on what we call schematic design. As the drawings get more finalized and design gets more complete, we can start bidding it out and seeing where the market's at. I did engage some subcontractors on this just to help me with, budget pricing with everything going on right now. So we do feel pretty confident in this number as design progresses. I can certainly go through, each line here. The total cost is $1,144,933. We've also priced a few alternates here as well for the district and design team, everyone to consider. This is based on about a 12,000 square foot ag facility. That area is right at the top up here, top right. Again, if y'all have any questions or want me to go in, yes, sir.
On your plans, I was just trying to take a look at them earlier today, and just on the concrete, you've got 4-inch slab, $12 a square foot. You got $4 on the footings. You came to we got 6,400 square foot of slab, basically, correct?
Correct.
So 4-inch, kind of like typical house footings, and that works out to about $1,450 a square foot for the concrete. Is that typical just because it's commercial, or?
Yes, sir. If I get this question a bit, on the residential side, it's you get a little much less expensive. So this number, it's it's factoring in the excavation, any subgrade prep, stuff of that nature, your rebar. We typically see around $12 to $15 a square foot for what we call shallow footing, 4-inch slab on grade foundations.
Then also, on the chain link fencing line item on 32, is there anywhere other than that mechanical mezzanine that is going to have the chain link fence? I couldn't find it on the plan.
Off the top of my head, it was just the mezzanine.
Well, I mean, there may be a little bit of site.
Well, I didn't see anything on the site plan, but I've got, I come up about 56 foot at $30. It's like $1,600, but y'all got 510 lineal foot. That's 15 grand there.
There might have been some.
It doesn't show it on your site plan anywhere. That's the only fence I could find.
There might be some on the ag site plan.
That we were provided.
I did pull that quantity. I just off the top of my head can't recall exactly
Well,
what
I
the
didn't know
size of
maybe
the
someone just
mezzanine.
was putting 51 and accidentally hit 0, or what? We'll have to look. And then also, I had a question. There was showing about 7,700 square foot of plywood, and I was coming up a little less than that based on you got the 5/8 plywood ceiling, probably about 325, 30 square foot, and then the same on the 1 1/8 flooring above it. Is there any other plywood in there?
No, and this 1,700 square foot is more of a building area, so this factors in any bad insulation, plywood. I wasn't sure if we were going to have, any wood blocking necessary, stuff of that nature. So this is kind of a wholesome number until that gets a little redefined. So that number, to your point, could come down a little bit. It's not just the plywood, though. There's insulation and some other factors in that as well.
But it's just above those head-out blocks?
The plywood ceilings are just above those enclosed
You got
areas.
plywood on the bottom, plywood on the top, which is 325 square foot below and 325 on top, so there's a lot more. You put a lot more square footage in there. I didn't know there was somewhere else in the building there was plywood.
You just have the two areas of addition space. You got the feed room and the mechanical space on the south side, the restrooms and the water heater room on the north
so that's,
About 700 square feet
yeah.
wide.
One side's a little more than the other, but we have 7,700 square foot of it on there for
So
plywood.
that's not just plywood, that's like a gross square footage area, like a building square
Yeah, but
footage.
that's the only place that there's
So-
any wood at all, blocking plywood would just be in that 700 square foot.
Correct.
Everything else is metal and haydock block.
Yeah, and, you know, sometimes on these estimates, when we don't have full design, I'm gonna make some assumptions if there's anything down the road.
Well, I was just trying to
But-
figure out where you got the assumption from when I was looking at them, kind of looking at takeoff stuff. I didn't know if there was any more plans that you were pulling from that we don't have, or,
No, would have been the SD.
I did look at extra fencing on the site plan.
Yeah.
So it ties in on the north side, the existing fence comes all the way around the building, it ties in down the
so
south.
we are gonna fence the whole entire building in then?
That's what we got going right
Okay.
now. We need to get that.
Okay, well, that's fine, that makes a little more sense, but I didn't see any details or anything, so, that we had so far.
So that is the structure itself of the whole facility. The pre-engineered metal building. That would be the, you know, yeah, it would be the enclosed area, the open area, everything, the whole structure.
Like the beams and the
Yes, sir.
metal siding?
Mhm.
Or, pre-engineered, to order something like Waiver or something.
It's all the columns and purlins.
Yes, yes, and we typically see numbers from Red Dot, there's Tyler Building Company, there's Nucor, there's a few others out there.
What website do y'all use to, open up the bids?
We use Smart Bid, and that's what we send invitations to bid out of and post all the documents and publicly advertise it.
Where do y'all publicly advertise it at?
So I get a hold of the local newspaper, whoever it is, and we'll usually do 2 advertisements prior to the bid date.
On the, I think one other thing I just was wondering, on 8-inch CMU wall, 9 foot tall, is $144 a lineal foot, is that typical cost of that for the block,
We typically see 14 to 16 a square foot
of the wall?
of the wall, yes, sir.
So, which that works out to 144 lineal foot of no more wall we have, so. When you do this, will it be more detailed out when you actually do a hard cost, or?
Actually, typically when we put the GMP out there, it's lump sum. You'll see a concrete bid. We can certainly go into detail if requested, but usually GMPs, it's all wrapped into, you know, you got a concrete number, masonry number, mechanical number, and so forth.
Well, since you are managing it for us, will we be able to see all the bids that were turned in, or do we only get to see the ones y'all pick, or?
No, it's a public advertisement and publicly bid, so if y'all want to see every bid, and typically I'll produce a sheet, you know, we don't necessarily use every low bidder, and if we don't, you know, we can describe to the board why we would recommend a different sub. And if y'all have any local subcontractors, I know Linen is local, anyone else, you know, definitely let us know so we can make sure they get a proposal in.
On the 85 grand for utilities, I mean, is that just a standard number you're thinking of, or is there a reason that it can't, you put that down?
We, at this time, since it's a schematic design, we just don't have any utility drawings. I wasn't sure what's out there. That's me putting a historical cost on it for now.
I got you.
One thing we talked about under 12, where it says animal pens and cages, that, we know that's not included in the price, but if we don't use all the contingency funds listed in the project, could that go towards the pens and cages?
The contingency, whether it's owners or contractors, ultimately the owner decides, you know, how that's funded. So yes, sir, if we have anything left over, that can certainly go to that.
Do y'all, if we spend that on cages and pins, do y'all get your 8% off of that too?
It would be, if we roll it back into the cost, yes, the markups would be added to it. If y'all purchased it through us, I should say.
If it's on contingency fund, we're not adding any more cost to it. So
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
Okay.
That would be an allowable expenditure for us to use it for, though. Okay.
Do we have a ballpark estimate of what cages and
the ag teachers are gonna work on that. Measure with their, tape measure and see. They know what they want, we just need to know how much that's gonna cost.
Yeah, I mean, kind of what we're looking at right now, we're looking at WW, Freebird, and then there's a place back with the chairs, got some, can't remember
You talking about for the stalls?
the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Panels.
panels and all that.
I got it.
But we're thinking, just based off of what I had at my last school, when we redid it, and we're gonna have about double the amount installed, probably gonna be around the 18,000 range, more than likely.
That's more efficient than done with custom metal fabrication.
Yeah.
Your ag chemistry.
Yes, because we'll be able to get them a lot quicker, and then they're also, they're either going to powder coated or be galvanized top dip.
Okay, last one.
The quality of them are, I mean, they're going to last a little longer.
Any other questions for Jackson?
So the timeline was to go out to bid, I heard, in, after January.
Yes, yeah, and me and Brett were just talking about it. We're going to strive for bid dogs in first of the year.
So at this point, with your blessing, we'll engage engineers, because right now this is just architectural. MEP, structural engineers have been authorized to proceed with that. So we'll need to get them on board, get them going, and so we probably have, 6 weeks or so, just get it into that schedule and get there. We're gonna, you can see, with these drawings, if you are at a chance, architectural's, moving along really well, but engineer will be a little bit of time to get caught up.
You okay with these other, you and the other ag teachers okay with the design and everything?
Yes. Yeah, we sat down about 2 or 3 weeks ago and looked over these drawings, and these drawings are the ones that we kind of worked off of and built ourselves, so.
Any other questions? Any other comments? Appreciate it. Thank you for the.
When's it estimated to be finished?
What was the question?
When's it estimated to be finished?
We're looking at about, I'll let actually Shane speak to that. Don't want to overstep here.
Just based off what we have now, I mean, probably roughly an 8-month schedule. And so from bid to finish, construction is roughly 8 months. Once we get some more further along drawings, I can kind of put together more in-depth schedule and get a little more exact. But just off the top of my head, based on previous projects, this 8 months. Majority of that is due to the fact that the city we're looking at anywhere from 12 to 16 weeks before we get a building on site. So that's kind of
So you're looking at school opening next year, probably about when school opens,
probably not about that time.
August.
Does it have to be a pre-engineered, or can you do it as a weld up with engineering?
It's hard to get engineering on the weld up, I think. That's what I
I mean,
found.
typically, your economy is in the 300 metal building.
Yeah.
You suffer a little bit in the time frame just because you have to wait on the building, but as far as the economy goes,
Sounds like you have their blessings. So.
Sounds good. Appreciate y'all. Next item will be the campus principals, campus improvement plans.
First off, Dr. McClendon, gentlemen of the board, I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. I speak on behalf of my staff when I say thank you for bringing remote learning to a close. As an option, we do realize that there are special circumstances, and if we go into quarantine, the kids will have to go into remote learning, but that was such a big morale booster for my staff, and I do appreciate you guys making action on that last time we met. 2 documents that I need to bring for approval tonight. One is the campus improvement plan, and the other is called a targeted improvement plan. And the campus improvement plan is something we do annually, and of course, in y'all's documents, it probably looks similar to this. And this is a living document that can be added to and amended as we see fit as the school year goes on. It's a living document. It includes our goals, anywhere from our attendance to our academic achievement, our rewards program, our campus culture. It outlines how we use certain elements of our curriculum, including technology. And again, it's made to be updated and changes take place, but the copy you have now is how it is currently constructed. These are public documents that we're talking about. Once they're approved, they're on the school website for anybody to see. And the other document bringing forth tonight is a little bit different. It's called the Targeted Improvement Plan. And this document is required by the state for us to have. And not all schools have a targeted improvement plan, but we do, and it's based off of our campus rating. A couple of years ago, we received a rating that obviously we were not satisfied with, and we have fought to overcome. Last year we didn't get to take the STAR test to help us get to drop that rating, so we've been carrying it now for 2 years. And there was an area within that accountability that was called closing the gaps. And closing the gaps, it compares STAR achievement data of our different ethnic and racial groups and our low socioeconomic kiddos, and it compares their STAR achievement with the STAR achievement of the other students. And traditionally, there is a gap between low socioeconomic kids and the other students when it comes to achievement on these standardized tests. And the state wants to see that the school is making efforts to close that gap to where those kids are pulled up and they're achieving as well as all students are. So that's where the closing the gap domain comes in to our accountability. And we didn't do well in that area. So we received this from the state that said you need to do a targeted improvement plan. It has to be board approved. And so that's what we're doing here tonight. And it's not necessarily a living document. It is something that we add to, but it's something we set forth to try to achieve these improvements. And this plan, I don't know how it looks in your packets, but it's better as an Excel document to see online. Because as you see, the print in it is extremely tiny. There's lots of drop-down boxes and stuff that don't print out real well. But it is better to read it on a computer screen as an Excel document and all the different tabs that come along with it. But again, it's just showing our goals for improvement and the steps that we're taking to ensure it. And the state really doesn't care about your feelings. They're driving forth, I'm sure we're going to take the STAR test again this year, and it doesn't matter to them who was behind, who missed how many months of school. They're going to test you, so you have to be prepared. So these are steps that we're taking to ensure that that specific area and other areas in the accountability, we show improvement in those areas. So those are the two documents that are up for approval tonight. But there's something else I want to address that was brought up at our last meeting, and that was, what about these students, or all of our students who missed, time in the classroom 3 months at the end of the school year last year, and then our students who were in remote learning to start this year? What are we doing to help these students get up to speed, because we know that they're behind. They came to us behind. So I think that's a great question. I want to address that tonight. Imagine that you're a teacher, as our teachers were this year. The school year starts, and the first thing that we do to address it is to do beginning of the year benchmarks to see where the kids are at. So you do those benchmarks, and then the data starts coming back, and you see how far this student is behind, how far this student is behind, where this student is lacking, what skill this student is lacking in, and that's in your reading and your math. And so you're the teacher, and you see that on your class roster, and the majority of those kids are behind. All right, so at that point, as a professional, you start thinking, what am I going to do to get them up to speed? Because obviously there are skills that they missed from the previous school year, but you are accountable for what they have to learn this school year too. So we start addressing that in different ways, and that's what we're going to talk about here, is how we're addressing that. Most of our kids, especially our lower grade levels, were several levels behind in their reading, which that's important, to be on grade level with reading. And students in math, they had gaps because they missed classroom instruction to wrap up the previous year. So one thing that we saw was that we're going to have to go back and pick up those lost skills and start bringing them in. So if you're a second grade teacher, you're picking up first grade skills that the kids were missing that you saw in your data. And you start teaching that, and you have to do it kind of alongside of what they're expected to learn this year. If not, you've got this, I don't know if you can say it's a domino effect, because if you start just focusing on first grade skills and you don't do any second grade skills, then those kids are going to stay behind. So you almost have to do it alongside. So it's tricky. But the teachers see that the skills that they're missing the most of, they put focus on that in the classroom. And whether it's facts, just basic number sense, they start going along those lines of bringing those kids up to speed. We saw this early on. About the 4 to 6 week mark, I had teachers coming to me and saying these kids are growing exponentially. It was slow going at first, but what we were seeing along with the remedial work they were getting in the classroom, just getting back into the routine and getting back into school shape, they started catching up. Now, we still have kids who are behind, but the gap is shrinking, and that's exciting for our teachers when they can see that their progress is being made. And but the kids were growing faster than they would in a normal school year if they were up to grade level. And it just took getting back into school shape. Along with that, we had these kids that were in remote learning, we were trying to reach out to them. And as we talked about last week, we had lots of kids who were behind that weren't passing. So teachers are, how are we going to reach those and bring them up? The main thing we want to do is get them back to school, which we have. And now that they're back to school, our teachers aren't holding that against them. We got teachers who are allowing kids, if they were failing, if they were missing work, these remote kids are allowed to make up their work. If they need extra tutorial time or whatever, we're providing that for them to try to get them up to speed. But the most important thing was we got kids back up here and got them into a routine. Now, we identified 80 students, give or take a few, that required more attention. All right, these are RTI students. They need interventions. So those 80 students, they're being pulled for small groups. And our interventionists are working with them, our math and our reading interventionists. And they're bringing them in small groups multiple times during the week. So these kids are getting in-class instruction, pull-out instruction, getting small group with our interventionist. And with those kids that get pulled out, those aren't just 80 students, and we see them. Those are 80 students that have paperwork that goes along with every one of them, data collection that goes on with every one of them. Parent meetings, we'll have parent meetings on our campus tomorrow. Some of them will be by phone. Some of them we allow the parents to come up so we can have face-to-face with them. But it's all to try to keep parent, students, teachers all on the same page, to let them know where the students are still lacking and what we're trying to do to get them up to speed. So this is taking place on a daily basis on the elementary school. And I know I'm just kind of not getting into specifics on that, but you can imagine not every kid is missing the same skill. So if you've got 4 teachers in a grade level, and you might have student in class 1, student in class 2, student in class 3, and a student in class 4 that may be lacking in the same skill, well, those kids will be grouped together and brought into a small group, and they'll receive small group instruction at the same time. And kids who are lacking other skills, they are grouped together. But the teachers are doing phenomenal jobs. I can't brag on my staff enough under the challenges that they're facing with students who are behind to do everything they can to bring them up to speed. And as we all know, as a kid, You can only learn so much so fast at the level that you're ready to handle it at. We can't just throw them all algebra books and say, let's teach them algebra and that'll get them ready for high school. They're not ready. So you've got to bring them along increments as they can handle it. And that takes skilled teachers to know their students and know how to approach them. But I thought that was a good question last week. And that's kind of how, snapshot of how we're trying to bring our students up to speed and get them prepared. Because like I said, we get to the end of the school year, the state's going to hold us accountable. And we're trying to do everything we can to get them prepared for it.
Yeah, Mr. Wright, it sounds like you have a lot of challenges. Do you need anything from us to help you out?
I feel like you guys have given us everything we need to succeed. Something we were concerned about and something we've always strived for is one-to-one on technology. Well, we had a shipment of iPads show up last week, and they're about to be in the classroom's hands. And that's going to help us out, especially in our lower grade levels, to get that technology in there. Because that becomes part of your small group learning. If you've got a teacher who's got 5 kids at her desk, and she's got other little learning stations going, one of those is technology, and those are some great programs that the kids get into. They're earning points, and they're learning at the same time. That helps them get caught up, too. So we appreciate what you've given us in terms of that. Y'all got all these you got a laptop right there in front of you. There's a nationwide shortage in Chromebooks. Y'all provided for us to be able to get those Chromebooks. The problem is they're either on a boat waiting to get into the United States or New York's getting them all because we haven't seen them. Yeah, Pennsylvania trying to calculate the situation there. But I do feel like y'all supported us and given us what we needed. We do have a personnel issue that we're working on right now that hopefully we can get rectified in that. And that's maybe something we'll talk about at a later board meeting. But I feel like...
Are you confident we're going to get there? We're going to have better scores?
Absolutely. I was confident that we were on track last year.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I had a group, especially coming into that 4th grade, we saw strides and things that we had put in place that they were going to bring that writing up. Because that's really that really killed us in our writing. And they didn't get a chance to show off. And, Miss Peel was one of the ladies I brought in to work with those students. And she was almost in tears over the fact that they put in so much work and didn't get a chance to show it. And they would have seen that we would have had the growth that we needed. And these kids would have been able to get the monkey off our back, I believe. This year, it gets reset with a whole new set of challenges. But like the guy says, facts don't care about your feelings, all right? So we've got, the fact is that we're going to be having tests in the spring, and we're going to do everything we can to have them prepared for it.
What about the other kiddos on the other side that, we didn't talk about? Are you seeing them still excelling and doing well?
Yeah, and you're referring to?
Maybe the ones that are struggling.
Okay, yeah. So, to a certain degree, everybody was behind, all right? Certain kids have the support, and certain kids have the wherewithal to get caught back up faster and to get where they need to be, especially in our older kids, our 5th grade group. I'm very impressed with where they are right now. That's good signs there. But, the key is push the kids, find ways to push the kids. In tutorials, I'll give 5th grade for an example. We divide these kids up into levels. And your kids that are stronger, or they're trying to be pushed on so they can excel more, achieve more, and not have to be dragged down maybe by a student who is struggling with some facts, some basics that these kids already understand. So we're doing the best we can on all of our students. Our main focus here at the first of the year was getting everybody up to speed, and we're still in the process of doing that, but the gains are good, are solid. The last thing I wanted to finish with you guys, all of our students are on campus right now. They either came back from remote, or they withdrew to homeschool, or they moved. We have a surprising number that we lost 23 elementary students to homeschool. Not remote learning, but to homeschool. Their parents said, we're not going to fool with the state on this. We're just going to do it ourselves. Some of those students may come back after Christmas if the people see that it's safe and it's healthy. But that's kind of a hit for the elementary school to lose that many kids. There were a handful of other students that were transfers that chose to go the homeschool route. And then there's some more that just simply moved. But I did want y'all to have that number to know that we did miss a few kids coming back. 23 that were our local kids that parents said we're going to go the homeschool route for this school year. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How many out-of-district students do you still have, you think?
How many out-of-district students do we still have on campus?
Yes,
No, man, I don't have that in front of me, Johnny. I don't want to lie to you on that. We did have quite a few transfers that did not return, but I don't have the number.
We're up to 40 or 50 or so over there.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
When you up to about 40 or so over there?
Oh, goodness, I don't know if it's that many. I will have that information for the
The
board.
23, that could have been, I mean, some of those were at the beginning of the year. It's not all that left right after we said either come
No,
back to school.
that is correct. Most of those are parents who made that decision prior to the school year.
started.
Absolutely.
Kevin, this tip plan that you spoke of that we're
Yes.
going to approve, that's not something you guys have implemented as of yet. It's December through February.
This is something that's in place right now.
It's in place right now. We're
Yes.
doing it right now.
Right, but this is the month that it is to be approved.
Okay. And it's-
There's calendar for these things.
Yeah. And it's something that, I mean, it's working right now.
Yeah, so a lot of it that's in there is, things that we have put in place. Our PLC meetings are professional learning communities where we have those interventionists come in, the teachers come in, we pull the data, we look at the data, we decide what we're going to do with the kids.
Right.
And those are taking place every other week. We're trying to have those meetings with the teachers. As long as we have data to look at, we have those meetings. That's something that we implemented for our targeted improvement plan.
Karen, I appreciate you, number one, not making excuses. We all understand the matters of this year, most especially, but I really appreciate you not making excuses and, working and making a plan to very strange environment to tackle our problems at hand. I
Right.
appreciate that.
Appreciate y'all's support.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Mr. Mize, secondary campus plan?
Gentlemen, like Mr. Taylor said a while ago, ours is 49 pages long, and I'm sure you don't want to be bored to death with it. We've got 8 points that we want to show you, goals that we've developed with our site-based committee, along with our department chairs and other people that are on that committee. But I just want to say this. I appreciate you guys and the fact that you allowed a junior high principal to be hired and a secondary curriculum director to be hired. They do a phenomenal job. And when we bring the secondary campus improvement plan together to show you as one, I want you to know that Mr. Bohannon and Ms. Bazell and I work hand in hand because we want to see those 8th graders transition to the 9th grade and know that it's going to be the same routine of what they get. The 8th grade gets bombarded by all 4 core subjects, and then when they come into freshman this year, it's changed. It's Algebra 1, Biology, and English 1, and U.S. History will be in their sophomore year. But, with millennials, they've got this acronym called FOMO, fear of missing out. And they want to be on every type of social media. They want to have every type of gadget and gimmick and everything. But I'm just going to tell you where I stand on this. I really believe why the scores are so good here at the secondary level is because we let our teachers teach. And our teachers break down the TEKS, Texas Essential Knowledge of Skills. They get with our curriculum director, and she has been applauded through this COVID breakdown and coming back in with the Google Classroom and all the technology going online. Our teachers just love her, but they take that TEK and they just break it down, and they break that objective down to where the kids understand it, where the kids learn it, and we let our teachers teach, and when they do, be honest with you, we get great results. We got great teachers, and more importantly than that, we got great kids, and we got 2 strong groups I want to brag on in that freshman class and sophomore class. And I feel real confident. Like Ms. Bazell said, how do you measure growth? Because we didn't take it last year. How are we going to measure that for our upper level kids, Mr. Stovall, like you asked Mr. Wright about? We don't know. But one thing we feel like we have in place is a good plan for our teachers and for our kids and for our campus. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Bazell, and she's going to show us our 8 goals for our campus improvement plan on the secondary. Then I'd like Mr. Bohannon to talk to you about the technology that's available for our teachers and our kids, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about our spring training, what we do to get ready for the STAR test. Ms. Bazell?
We do have 8 goals that, as a campus, we came up with. Stacey's going to click for me. The plan is really long that y'all have, but I've kind of shortened, condensed it a little bit. Goal 1, Alba-Golden Secondary will provide exemplary instructional opportunities and maintain high expectations to ensure all students are prepared to achieve success in post-secondary college career readiness. It's a mouthful. Over on the right there, you see 9 things that we are doing as a campus to try to reach that goal. I'm not going to read them all to you, but like number 3, we have improved and increased our opportunities for the CTE. With the state kind of revamping that, we were able to offer 12 different pathways for our kids, different choices for them, and complete pathways. So we also have a study hall period for our kids this year where they have the opportunity to go to teachers that they need help in and get that help. It's a 30-minute period. We do place a lot of emphasis on closing the gap in our students and making progress. Our scores were really good, but where the teachers saw the main need for us was to focus on improving that growth for our kids. Goal 2, we'll provide optimal resources to ensure students have educational and technological opportunities that support 21st century learning in alignment with the TEA strategic plan. We were able to go one-to-one. Mr. Scott has been great to get us more computers, and we kind of broke up some carts that we had, and all of our kids, I can say today, all of our kids are one-to-one. So all of our students have one. Now tomorrow, if a student comes in, I'll be bugging Mr. Scott again. We also last year hired an academic advisor, and she does a great job making sure kids are on the right path and reaching their goal when they graduate with college, financial aid, all that stuff.
When you say one-to-one, every kid has a Chromebook?
Every kid has a Chromebook in the secondary, yes, 6 through 12. Goal 3, we'll ensure that a safe, orderly, positive, high-quality learning and working environment will be provided to support the social, emotional, and physical well-being of all students and staff. We do a lot of training on campus, a lot of required training. This year, all the training for teachers was online, and they loved that. They could sit in their room and do the online training as they went along. We do also, Ms. Bryant is great with all of our kids as the counselor for 6 through 12, and she gets with them teaching about tolerance and mental health awareness and bullying, and she does that throughout the year. She'll meet with different classes. We did get a new art facility constructed this year. Ms. White is loving it. Her classes are really full, and we appreciate that. A new ag facility hopefully will be built to meet our needs for our students. Goal 4, we'll strive to recruit, develop, and retain high quality and effective personnel to optimize successful student engagement and learning. We would like to, and we have been working for the last few years to improve staff retention. Y'all helped greatly with a staff salary base increase this year, and our goal of less than 10%, and I think we reached that this year. We had very few, we had some retirements this year, but we had very few actually leave. We provide lots of opportunity for training here on campus, and also the service center. Teachers are allowed to go and find things that are specific to their training needs. Administrators conduct walkthroughs throughout the school. We are 100% highly qualified for the first time in a long time, and that just means that every teacher is degreed and in their right field. So.
Number 5. newly hired faculty will be assigned? Did they meet monthly or?
A teaching mentor. Usually more than that. They go to them for everything. Mr. Mize is great, and Mr. Bohannon, to kind of match them up with somebody that's in their area, their teaching area, and they meet constantly. I would say once a week, at least. Number 5, will exercise fiscal responsibility and provide stewardship to maintain financial strength and allocate the financial resources necessary for educational and district growth, support, and needs. And teachers meet usually at the end of the year as a department to kind of evaluate their needs as a department, what they need, what they would like to get, and turn that in. So they all work toward the budget. Goal 6, enhance communication among the community, parents, and staff to encourage parental involvement, provide a safe learning environment, and promote a culture of safe discipline. We did have open house scheduled at the first of the year, and that's kind of, that changed with COVID. So we had some parents, I think, come up, but most teachers made contact with the parents through phone calls during that time, and they constantly do. We're so thankful that the kids came back from remote learning. That has made a huge difference, like Kevin said. Information is published on our school website, Marquee School app, Remind, and Facebook page. Campus Site-Based Committee meets once per semester. Ms. Gallion also provides parent night, usually 3 times a semester. I don't know, she's done it twice, I think. They've been virtual. But it's to get out information out there for parents for financial aid, applying for FAFSA and college applications and all that. Report card pickup was canceled this year, so that day we had parents, teachers calling parents, making contact with them. And goal 7, all students in Alba-Golden Secondary will graduate from high school on an appropriate and student-centered degree plan. We continue a 3-tier model of instruction to support at-risk students. We utilize Odyssey Wear Lab for credit recovery and individualized scheduling, the restructuring of the CTE program of study and offered pathways. And we meet with kids, usually 8th grade, and they're able to pick their path and go from there. And we provide multiple choices again for those students.
Have you already restructured the CTE deal?
Yes, sir.
So it's
Yes,
clear-
and it's a
clear
working,
pathways now?
we've already looked at one, the state just put out this last month of new programs for mainly the health science, some different pathways. And so one pathway we had chosen before didn't include some of the classes that we actually already offer. And so we can change to that, to where the kids will actually get several classes in that.
We talked before about, like, you kind of just go wherever, but no one
Yes.
ever finished anything. Is
Right.
there things in place where, once they're in there,
Yes.
you hold them accountable and they will graduate with their?
Has
They-
anybody got a certificate yet?
Yes, not this year, not yet. I know our ag classes, he left, they're going to be doing OSHA 30 with all of the kids that are in CTE classes, in ag classes. They'll do that in the spring. And then our culinary, I know she'll do some. And there were several kids planning to do them in the spring last year, and that changed. So we haven't had any yet, but we will in the spring.
Well, good.
So, and our kids will pick a path their 8th grade year, so going into their freshman year, and they can still change that path their sophomore year, but then they're stuck with it sophomore year.
And then the kids that are in the 8th grade this year have already designated their.
No, they'll pick in the spring. Miss Gallion will meet with them and kind of show them all the different pathways, and they'll pick for the registration for the following year. So. And goal 8, this one was added this year. Secondary will address learning loss from the COVID closure and work to ensure students get back on appropriate grade levels. And I think Mr. Bohannon is going to go over. Do you want to go over this whole one, or you want me to?
Yeah, we can go over it.
Okay.
Some of that's Mr.
Kind of like what we're doing now, and how we've changed some things.
And, one thing that I was thinking about earlier is that we don't really think about, but like, for instance, when when you guys approved us as a district of innovation, we were able to start school 2 weeks earlier, which the STAR testing dates, I haven't moved.
So that gives us 2 extra weeks of instruction that we're going to have in the springtime, or now, to try to catch some of these kids up. With technology, Mr. Wright hit on most of that already about our technology. We're 1-to-1, and technology department is extremely vital right now. They're doing a great job, Mr. Scott and Amanda Durbin and Miss Rowland, being the instructional technologist, going to the different teachers to help them out in a lot of ways. We've learned some lessons from the very beginning of this pandemic. That first week when we said, guess what? School's out, and now we've got to get devices to everybody. We've got to figure out how to get internet to them. We got to put teachers online, get them set up in Google Classroom. We had teachers ready to quit right then, but they jumped on board with it, and I'm just amazed at some of the teachers, really all the teachers, really, but some teachers who you just would never have thought would use any type of technology. They're using them to great lengths, and a lot of our classes are still mostly paperless, where most of their assignments are still online in Google Classroom and some other way. And like you said, is there anything you can do? And anytime we've ever asked for any type of program or anything like that, we get it. And that's been vital to the students as well, as just much as the teachers. Even just giving us, we purchased cameras for any teacher that wanted to be able to start filming themselves, in their lessons to post on Classroom, so students can go back and can actually review some of the stuff that's they've taught and they've learned. Some of the things that Mr. Myers told me, I can do this one already. So, like number 2, these are some ways that some things we've learned and try to catch these students up with learning loss. Right, every student, no matter if they were remote or if just started at the beginning of school, there was a learning loss already from just being out of the classroom. So we've tried to put together some stuff. For instance, we've administer a beginning of the year benchmark and state interim test in October. We did that for every student. We've done Renaissance math and Renaissance reading. And then we came back and we did a benchmark test a week ago or so, and we're still going through some of that data with the teachers. And we saw some of their scores are a little bit lower than where we would like to see them, but it's a good starting point for us to see and to pinpoint. The teachers can pinpoint where they are needing to focus more on. That's one thing that I've seen just talking with teachers is they've said, we've kind of had to put the brakes on a little bit. We know we're not where we were last year, right? At this moment, we're just not. Nobody is. So teachers have learned that, I can't be as fast-paced as I was, but if I slow down and reteach some things, the students are starting to get it. Like Mr. Wright said, they're starting to catch on to some stuff. And I think now is when we're going to start seeing some of the progress being made even more. We've actually changed from a pull-out RTI program on our campus, mainly in junior high, and we created it into the schedule with reformative math and reformative ELA. We have 2 teachers that teach that, and basically a student doesn't have that. We went to 8 periods, so we had an extra elective period, and so teachers, these students were don't go to one elective and they go to this reformative class. So they'll have 2 math classes, or they may have 2 ELA classes, and the second one is there to find what they are struggling with to build them up, the students that are in our RTI process. So where they were getting pulled out maybe twice a week last year for about 30 minutes or so, this year they've got them every single day for the 45 minutes. So that's just going to help them as much as possible. Again, teachers are using those cameras and creating instructional videos and screen recordings. I'm seeing a lot more videos in the classroom, in the lessons as we're going through, and we're watching teachers. They've been doing that, but now they're doing it even more. I had one teacher who showed a video, but instead of just showing the video and not doing anything, she would stop the video at certain points and go over what were we looking at, and this is what we've been talking about, and then she'd continue on with that. And then it was posted onto Google Classroom where the students and the parents can access it at any time, and they can go back and look at those things. Teachers are holding tutorials before school, after school, during study hall. We've got teachers coming up here at 6:30 in the morning. We've got teachers staying until 6:30 at night, working their tails off to try to help these students in any way possible. Teachers are doing a great job of sharing them as much as possible where they can find them. And you can see the whole list of resources that we've got that they are using, from Study Island to IXL. We just purchased STEM Scopes, which is for science classes to help them out. Vocabulary, text, just goes on and on. Anything that we can possibly do to help them. Not every teacher uses every single one of those. Some of those are just for reading. Some of those are just for math or science. But whatever we can do to help them out, we're trying. And we get together quite a bit, meet together all the time. What can we do to help them? What can we do to help the teachers? Morale is just a big thing, and anything that we can possibly do to come up to give them a pick-me-up, we will. We started installing monthly birthday lunches where once a month our office staff will try to feed the teachers and just kind of let them have some fun together and give them some birthday stuff and just things like that. Just trying to, it's a drudge. It's tough. Teaching is tough right now, and our teachers are doing a great job, in my opinion. So, Mr. Myers, you got anything else on that?
I was going to tell you guys, it's so awesome in that DMAC where you can break down the benchmarks. And so when we get to February and say at the high school level, our first big test for EOC is English 1. So they can break down the objectives in there where the kids are struggling, and Miss Haley can take it and put those kids into 4 different quadrants or quintiles. And so, you're going to have those kids, let's just face it, they're not going to be able to pass the test. But what are we looking for? We're looking for growth, right? So we can really pull them into a tutorial after school. We all 3 run the buses to get the kids to and from after school. We try to feed them, and they can really focus on 3 weeks of just kind of like a spring training, like in baseball. They have those exhibition games for the season starts. We do the spring training, and we just drill. I know this is kind of not to be said in education, but I believe it works. We kind of drill and kill them for what they're going to see on the test. And then when they go in there, I feel like they're prepared. And I feel like they do a good job. But it's really neat how each teacher can break down each section of kids in their class to focus on what their needs are. And like Mr. Bohannon and Ms. Bazell and Mr. Wright said, man, we couldn't be prouder of our teachers. They just, phenomenal job, day in and day out.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Bazell. We've already covered this from the tip.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sweet. Next item on the list is Esl Program Evaluation, TELPAS. Ms. Wigington.
It's going to be short and sweet. Each November, we're required to report to the board the number of ESL students that we service in the district and how they're doing educationally. If you look at the top of the chart, I assume you have this chart. Okay. We have a total of 15 students district-wide, and it's broken down per grade level of how many students. We did not have any parent denials this year. We are exiting 3 students for this school year. Then, unfortunately, the rest of the report would have been data from last year's testing, but we do not have any state testing to put on there. So hopefully this time next year we'll be able to see how our students are doing. But I did leave the 2017-18 school year and the 2018-19 school year, so you can see that our students, ESL students for both campuses, have been progressing quite well. There has been improvement every year. So there's no doubt, just from listening to the principals and the curriculum directors, our teachers are doing a great job, and I expect that the ESL students, their testing will be they'll do a really good job this year. One good thing is we are in compliance with TEA as far as our number of ESL teachers. We are content-based on the elementary campus, and we service our kids through the ELA program on the secondary campus with Ms. Fulcher as a pull-out. So we do not have to apply for any waivers for our school, which is good. Other than that, because there's no testing to go over, there's really not much to it, but do you have any questions about our ESL? Okay. Also, I'd like to say Shelley Baker is our coordinator for both campuses, and she does a really, really good job. LPAC meetings and keeping us on track. So I really need to give credit to her for the great job that she does, and our campus principals also. Okay. All right, thanks.
Food service update, Ms. Reed.
No. I can say, Mr. Daly asked for some numbers. I think I got that to Mr. McClendon. This was as of October 30th, and just to answer the transfer question, there are 53 students that are transfer students pre-K through 12. Miss Kelly found that number for me the other day. And this just breaks it down as of last Friday, what our enrollment was, which students are free, directly certified. Currently, we were talking about CEP. Elementary is at 51% that would qualify. Secondary is only at 40%. Neither of those are really where we need them to be at this moment. Will those numbers jump up by March? It's possible. But we finally turn in our final numbers to see for that for March. Also, USDA and TDA had offered school districts to go back to a summer feeding program, which means that all students can eat breakfast and lunch free. We began that last week on November 2nd. We'll be able to continue throughout the school year. We are averaging about 500 to 525 lunch meals per day, and our breakfast numbers have gone up from about 125 to about 175. So that's kids that are taking advantage of that. The main reason I'm here is school districts that are 50 plus on free and reduced students are required to do something about summer mandate feeding. The last 2 years we have applied for a waiver because we have very little interest. Most of our kids can't get here. We don't have neighborhoods. We don't have apartment complexes. We've tried the very first couple of years, we tried delivery, to a specific spot. We did Golden Grocery and we did the park in Alba. And even there, it's hard for our kids to get there. When we do it here at school, any kid that could get here is going to have to cross a major highway. So we applied for a waiver the last 2 years. We've received it. We would like to do so again. And our reasoning for applying for that waiver is transportation. We don't have a way to get all the kids here to feed them. And by the time the limited number that does show up, this isn't really supposed to be a consideration, but it's not cost efficient for us to run that program. So we would just like to apply for the waiver. When you guys approve it, I'll go in and do all my paperwork and get it all done and set up, and we'll know usually by January whether that waiver was approved or not. I have contacted Mineola ISD. They are willing to accept any of our students that did have the transportation. They're willing to accept our students for summer feeding. So our school district kids could go to theirs and still get the free summer meals.
That's just what the waiver is just for the elementary only, or would that be campus-wide?
The waiver's for the whole campus. In other words, this coming June, we would not offer a summer feeding program.
But it's based off the elementary number, like you said something about 50%?
No. It's 50% district-wide. Our district, because that number you're looking at, percentage-wise, is only our direct certified kids. So that's only our kids that are McKinney-Vento, Foster, receive some sort of federal assistance at home. Our actual percentage is greater than that, but I didn't figure the percentage with our application kids. But because that we have to offer it, and because of our transportation issue, it's just not feasible for our kids to get here. Any questions?
Ms. Reed,
Yes.
I'd like to just thank you for all the hard work you've done. You've done an amazing job for our community, just with the lunches and helping people to eat, but more so putting food in front of the kids they'll eat. When I go in there, I see less food left over, thrown in the trash can, and I hear the kids talking about how good it is. And
Well, thank you.
I don't ever remember cafeteria food being good, but they're like, I'm like, you want to take your lunch? No, I want to eat in the cafeteria. So,
Well, I will say that Chicken Nugget Day just about kills us. I've never in my life seen kids go so crazy for chicken nuggets and instant potatoes, but hey,
even my
that's their
kids are
thing.
like, I don't know what they did, but their pizza game is on. All she said, I hadn't eaten there in a while. She was like, I'm eating there again. Because
But
You've done
We
a major
appreciate it.
job with the food.
I have some great ladies working for me. I'm actually really sad. One of my ladies is leaving me. She's moving for family reasons. And so I'm really sad about that, but I've got some great ladies that we've already started training. One that she's picked up. She's doing really awesome also, that work hard, and we just do what we got to do to take care of these kids.
I have a question. Are we gonna do Thanksgiving?
No, sir, we are not because of COVID restrictions. If you'd like, I'll pack you a turkey sandwich and send it home with Easton.
Just a pie.
We're not even doing pie. We've not done pie since I took over. We have done peach cobbler. Now, not since I've been here, because we've done peach cobbler, and this will be my 3rd year. So 3 years ago, you had pie. And if it's really that big of a deal, Grant, I'll go to Walmart and buy you a pie.
That was some good pie.
Those were not homemade pies. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Thank you. Next item, athletics update.
All right, I'll hit both sides. First off, on the girls' side, we just completed volleyball season. They went to the second round. They were the by-district champions. They overcame a lot this past year and they were the 4 seed and went in and beat the district champions from another district, and then played Gary in the second round. So my hats are off to them, that coaching staff, and those girls. And if you were able to come over the other night, the beginning of the basketball season, they got done on Tuesday, practiced Wednesday and Thursday, and then went out and opened the season with a big win here against DCAB. Lots of energy, lots of good play. They're going to put themselves up to the test. That's one thing I can say about Coach Clement right now. He's not afraid of anybody. They're going to go over to Mount Pleasant Chapel Hill tomorrow night and play them, and there ain't nobody scared of them. And that's the mentality that Coach Clement is putting into these girls as far as in the basketball program and going along from there. On the guys' side, tomorrow, Joey Beck qualified for the regionals. He is competing in the regionals in Dallas. Tomorrow, he finished 6th in cross country, so that advanced him to the regionals, and he'll be competing tomorrow. So him and Coach Hass will be going up there tomorrow. We are today was first day of basketball. We are finishing up. We are postseason evaluations as far as football season goes. We started something different this year. I sent out, and they answered. I had every kid in the football program evaluate their coaching staff. They were asked 10 questions, and they got free response, no names on them, so they weren't anything, but they got to give their honest opinion about the coaching staff, the program where they think it is right now. And so we're going through that, using that as information to, draw this group, find out where they think we're weak and try to fix those kind of things. Did the same thing with the coaching staff. Each coach was allowed to evaluate the program, evaluate their peers as well, that is going to be used in everything. We've done that with the girls program as well, and we've seen that it is a positive way to find out, hey, how we can grow and become better. And that's what our ultimate goal is, to put the best product coaching-wise out there that the kids can relate to and the kids can want to play for and strive to work hard for. Our kids are great kids. There's no question about that. And we just want to make sure that we're giving them the same amount of quality that they give us. So as of right now, that's where we are. Wednesday, we will meet for basketball. We'll have a district meeting to decide exactly how we're going to go about schedules and gym space and limited spacing here and having to move people in and out. Until then, we'll be taking tickets at the door until we figure out exactly how each district is going to handle the situation. I don't know if they're going to want to go to split sites. We're going to try to refuse that because we got so many kids that play together and families that are together. So we're going to try to opt out of that if we have the option. We're going to push more towards playing your varsities on Tuesdays and Fridays, and then finding an alternate date to where you could play maybe double headers with your JVs. That way you're not having to lose your fans or lose people in and out of the gym as far as the gym space goes. We also did, I don't know if this is the first or not, we did host a volleyball playoff game here last week. It was TAPS Christian Schools. They called and asked if they could play. I made sure that they were not under the influence of any spiritual wine. I asked them if they'd seen our floor or our court, and they came here and they had nothing but positive things to say about how nice the gym floor was, how great the staff was as far as having things for them there, having it set up, having the national anthem, having everybody in place, and them not having to do anything but just show up and play the game. We ended up charging around $700 for the gym rental fee, which was split between the two, and I think we ended up making about $200 or $300 in the concession stand for athletic fundraising. So overall, it was a good night. Just to one, showcase the facilities, and two, be able to make a little money for the school. So that's kind of where we are right now. We did get updates from the UIL as far as spring sports so far, and what they've actually done is they have moved softball and baseball start dates, not the games, but the start dates up a week to help try to prevent any type of injuries for people that hadn't played in a whole year and those kind of things. So the UIL has actually opened up, instead of having a week before you play anything, they're now going to give you 2 weeks as far as that goes. We still are planning to have our baseball tournament. They didn't cancel any tournaments, so we'll still be hosting our Mike Poston Memorial Tournament, and then we will also still be we're going to be looking to try to get the softball tournament started, and we'll also have both of our track meets here in the middle of March. So that's kind of where we are right now with athletics, if we don't have any questions. Yes, sir.
Weren't we supposed to put up a Mike Poston sign?
We do have the banner. It is ready to be done. We've got it, and it is in there. We've got to put another coat on that outfield sign that where the old scoreboard used to hang. But Mr. Parrish has made us a sign. It is ready to go, and we just got to pill it and stick it up there. It's ready to rumble. So it is good to go.
How do you evaluate yourself on the football season?
I have a higher standard for myself, and I didn't think I did a very good job. Well, number one, we're gonna evaluate as far as from the offensive side what fits our kids best. We may not. I don't think we had a very good job as far as assessing what we did the best for what fits our kids the best. And so doing that, taking that, I think I think an off season kind of hurt us, and I think you had incoming kids that were playing that didn't have an off season that really could have benefited from a real good one. So I believe that with us having a good spring and us making the changes that we need to as far as schematics, then we'll put a better product out there.
You had some injuries too, right?
We had some injuries, but having injuries, and that's part of the game. I mean, we had kids that you don't think about those 5 days. You're playing every 5 days, and you don't realize how much those 2 extra days help for some kids. But once again, when we have those opportunities, we're gonna take advantage of them.
Any other questions? Appreciate it, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Bond Review Committee and Board Bond Planning Workshop.
Okay, one thing that we've talked about before is possible formation of a committee to look at facilities in the district. And I call it a bond committee, but that might be assuming too much because we're not at the point to call for a bond election. The purpose of this committee is to explore the idea. So, to get people on it, to tour the facilities, to come up with needs assessment, may not even result in a bond election because we have to listen to what the public says. And so when we call it a bond committee, I want to be very careful that we have not made the decision to go out for a bond election. However, if you do that, realize in Texas you've got 2 dates to do it. You've got a May bond election and you've got a November bond election. If you look at the calendar, time is clicking on a May, especially a May 21 bond election, because you'd have to call the election, I believe, as soon as February on what you want on that bond. So I have given you the names of, I believe, 20 people that either you've nominated or the public, and I like the size of that. That's a good number to have 20 people that want to do it. I don't know if everybody wants to do it, So I need to start calling around. If you've got phone numbers of these individuals that I can call, I need to start doing that as early as next week and saying we probably need to get a meeting together before, at least one time before Christmas, maybe two before Christmas. But the point is, these are things that you have to plan ahead. If we don't watch it, we're going to look up, it's going to be March or April of 21. You could also shoot for a November bond election of 21, if that's what you want. But either way you go, May or November, we've got to start planning today to see if that's possible. So I don't want to get ahead of the board. I want to be real careful in not saying this is what we're going to do without your blessing to say this is what this board wants to do. Because if you tell me this is what we want to do, then we need to get busy. And people serve on this committee as resources. Like principals said, do I need to serve on the committee? Principals don't have a choice. They're going to be at every single meeting this committee meets at. Because what I want the committee to hear is from teachers and principals. I want them to take them to that campus and say, look, we're out of room at elementary, and we've used this broom closet for ESL or whatever we do. I mean, he can tell you the story at his campus, and they can tell you the story at secondary. So there's going to be some tours of facilities, and there's going to be some legwork that has to get done. But I'm ready to get busy. I just need y'all to tell me, do y'all like the 21 people, and do you want me to proceed with going forward? Or is there anybody you want to add that you don't see on the list? It's not.
Johnny Teal. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
You just got nominated.
I can give you his telephone number.
Well, I'm going to call everybody on this list, but if y'all have numbers you can provide, it would make my job easier.
I'd like to see a coach on it.
Okay.
About Drew?
He would definitely be a resource.
Yeah.
You know, the directors and principals are going to be there because there's going to be a meeting that we just talk athletics.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a meeting we just talk about high school.
And these will be two different propositions, right?
Well, that's all part of, this committee has no power or authority. They're not going to make any decisions about a bond election. They're going to come back before you as a board, and they're going to present and say, these are the needs that we want to get behind, that we want included if we do a bond election. But they don't have any authority to make the decision.
Do you think, I mean, for this board, it's uncharted waters, not necessarily for you. You've been a part of something like this before.
Right.
Do you think May is, I mean, we're sort of up against it, and you think we might skip over a step and maybe it's better in November? I mean, what's your sort of opinion? What's your opinion on it?
I just would give you this advice, is don't rush so quickly you don't do it the right way. Because you can try to go too fast and not have public forums and not get input. I'd rather pass a November than fail a May. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'd rather pass a May
Do you think it'd be
than
okay
November.
to shoot for May, but if we didn't feel comfortable, we'd be okay with November? I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, you're just going to have to, everything is going to be moved up on your decision making because you've got to call for it earlier than you do the November.
In your experience, do you think we can get it done by May?
I think you can, but it's going to be me meeting with that group maybe twice a month instead of once a month. It's doable. But I also want to have somebody come in. The second part of this workshop, I would recommend I bring somebody in that knows how to pass a successful bond, and they do a team of 8 training with us to give us some tips.
Do we need like hard documents as far, or at least ballpark blueprints? I mean, I know we have some, but like to continue to move forward, like I've seen the architect thing, I think when you met, when they were here 2 months ago or whatever. Like, do we need something more than that to continue to pursue a bond?
You'd need to know a figure of an amount that it's going to cost the.
Do we have that off those preliminary?
they'd have to relook at that.
Yeah.
What were the numbers though? They were huge, I think that.
Well, the gym thing,
Yeah, we were trying to get it down to 6.
Three point three.
it was 12 something, or 13.
But the gym was, I think, was crazy.
Which you can do things simultaneously, like they can be working on that part.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't you
Why,
work on that?
why committee?
You got it down to like 6 maybe, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to, obviously, you want a facility that's going to suit the needs and grow with the district,
Right.
and, you know, all the stuff that we want to do, but.
Well, it's gonna do more than sports.
But that's all stuff that's gonna even put, I mean, because those numbers still have to be revamped, so I mean, that makes that May date even harder
More
to
difficult.
reach. Yeah, more difficult. I don't know.
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I think the first step is not to get too far ahead,
Yeah.
but tonight I want your blessing on the committee, because I need to get this going.
Yeah, no.
And so, if you think of anybody else on it,
Is that an action item?
No, it's not. It's
no, I just want to start
Okay.
informing them to come up here. There's people in this room that are on the committee that probably don't even know they're on the committee yet.
Yeah.
So, now they're all looking at each other.
They're all saying November. Future dates of regular AGISD school board meetings.
I'd really put this in there for the benefit of our new members, but I think y'all are okay with sticking to the second Monday of each month at 6. Every month worked the rest of this school year except for March. Is that correct, Marcy? March, we run into spring break during that time. And so we shot for after spring break, so just make a note that March 22nd would be the preferred date. Does anybody have an issue with that?
The only thing I'd say is, depending on how COVID changes basketball.
Oh, yeah,
schedules
yeah.
and things of that nature. I've got a lot that play basketball.
Yeah. We'll try to stay away from Tuesdays and Fridays for sure. But if y'all would just mark your calendars for those, because when we start having these bond committee meetings, I try to schedule around, yeah, Jackie. Like, I got you. I started scheduling around those regular board meetings as well.
Jackie's fine whenever we want to have them.
Works with your schedule.
Good for 3 meetings.
I guess the last item for information would be the AGISD Hall of Honor selection process.
Okay, so we've had several nominations for that. And so there is going to have to be a selection committee. I'm talking a lot about committees tonight, I know, but I've had more than I thought come through, and we're going to advertise it some more. The nominations are open until end of December. So when we come back in December for the board meeting, I need some guidance on, do you as a board want to select these recipients? Or do you want me to come up with another selection committee? Yes?
Selection committee.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't need to come up.
You don't think so? I thought you might say that. So we will work on that as well. But I'm very pleased about, these are people that have given lifetime amounts of work to the district, and they need to be recognized. It's going to be good.
Is it, are you thinking just one annually or biannually?
I think it needs to be very selective.
Sure.
And I was thinking 2 to 3 a year.
Okay.
Because you don't want to just, I don't think you want to approve everybody. They could stay in the pool for the next year as well.
Sure.
But I think it needs to be a very prestigious honor where it's not just everybody that's ever nominated. That's my opinion. Yeah. 2 or 3 a year is traditional, what you do.
All right. Action items, approval of the audit report. Obviously, we were given the audit report tonight. I don't think we shouldn't have any other questions or discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the audit report as presented? Mr. Thompson made a motion, Mr. Ragsdale second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. None opposed. Consent agenda, did everybody have a chance to look at the financial reports in the minutes?
Got one question on the financial reports. Insurance check to Hibbs, Hallmark, and Tyler, around $100,000.
Yes.
That's general liability, umbrella,
Yes,
auto,
that's
package,
everything.
all in one. right?
All packaged in one for the whole year.
Okay, did you shop that any this year?
No, we did not go out for bids this year.
Okay.
We got a discount, right?
Yes.
Discount double check? Thank you, Brent.
So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Mr. Ragsdale makes a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Teal seconds, all in favor say aye. Approval of the interlocal agreement Wood County tax collection.
Read that out.
I just request approval for Wood County Tax Office to collect taxes on behalf of Alba-Golden ISD, and this is an annual interlocal agreement that needs to be approved so that we don't have to collect our own taxes.
Any questions for Ms. Brenda? Do I have a motion to approve the Wood County? Mr. David makes a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Till seconds, all in favor say aye. None opposed. Set a date for the public meeting, first report.
The state requires us to advertise for a special public meeting to discuss and review the district's financial integrity rating. And we'd request, like in the past, that we just do this in conjunction with our regular December meeting, if that is okay with the board.
Anybody have a problem with that? Do I have a motion to set the date for our December regular board meeting for the first report? Mr. Ragsdale makes a motion, Mr. Staley seconds. All in favor say aye. None
Thank you.
opposed. Approve AGISD local pay and incentive retention recruitment pay. Dr. McClendon?
Yes, so we talk about this, we talked about it today a little bit. You've heard a lot about COVID and how hard our teachers are working. This is an incentive program. We don't want to lose teachers due to COVID, and we don't want to lose teachers because they don't feel appreciated in Alba-Golden. This is what you've given to them in the past, $1,000 per staff member. I'm telling you, they deserve that and more this year. This is not the year to think about taking that away, because if I could double it, I would. But they appreciate it. I know it's sometimes a surprise, but we like to go ahead and let them know so they can go Christmas shopping on Black Friday, that money's coming. But I think that if we could do even more, we would. God bless them for everything they've done this year. They earn every bit of it. I don't even think you should consider not giving them that, because if you look across the state of Texas, districts are ponying up this year to give these type of incentives that never have, because they know how hard their teachers have worked during COVID. So
We need to go up on it?
no, I don't think so, but I don't think we could know that right now with the budget, just because of COVID numbers and enrollment. But I definitely don't want to decrease it. I think they've earned it, and I certainly do appreciate them. So I think it's a pretty easy motion to make, in my opinion.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that, Dr. McClendon. Do I have a motion to approve the incentive pay as?
So moved.
Mr. Till makes a motion, do I have a second? Mr. Ragsdale seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. Thank you for that, and thank you for the teachers, for sure. Number 6, approval of campus improvement plans as presented, the elementary targeted improvement plan. Do I have a motion to approve those? Mr. Thompson makes a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Till seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. I'm giving them all to Johnny tonight.
Don't worry. Go out.
That's right. Consider approval of summer mandate waiver as presented by Ms. Reed. Do I have a motion to approve the summer mandate waiver? Mr. David makes a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Staley seconds. All in favor say aye. Aye. None opposed. The reorganization of the board will be tabled until the December meeting. Yes. So at this time, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Mr. Daly makes a motion, Mr. Teal seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Right at 8 o'clock.